was released to the press. The media then gave the unknown killer the name the Nightstalker. On August 6, 1985, Richard broke into the homes of Chris and Virginia Peterson. Richard shoved his pistol into Virginia's face, and she sat up screaming. Now, this couple is, I do not know how they got this, both unlucky and lucky. So Richard shoved his pistol into her face. She had sat up screaming. And when he shot her, she fell back but was alive and went to immediately shield her husband. Now, Richard shot him in the neck, and they were so dazed on just adrenaline and a fear, I suppose, that they didn't even think they had been shot. Virginia turned to her husband and asked, "Did he hit us with a stun gun?" Her husband's response was, "No, it's a starter gun. This is a sick joke." They were bleeding from their heads but were so full of adrenaline that one of them actually managed to charge Ramirez, dodging 2 different bullets. Ramirez fled off, and the couple rushed to their 4-year-old daughter who was unarmed and sleeping in her bed. They drove themselves to the hospital. Now, they were interviewed, and one half of them said, "He could have finished us off then, but he just watched us. They say he likes to watch them suffer." Now, at this point, the Nightstalker had a own task force that was specifically meant to stop him. He had become that much of a killer. August 8th, 1985, Richard invaded the home of his next 2 victims, Sakina Abouath, 27, and her husband, Elias Jacob Abouath, 31. Sorry. It gets harder to pronounce things when I get emotional. I know this is going to sound crazy, but hey, Mrs. Puff, I'm going to do that again, okay? August 8th, 1985, Richard invaded the home of his next 2 victims, Sakina Abouath, 27, and her husband, Elias Jacob Abouath, 31. After 2:30 a.m. or so, he entered the house, killed Elias while he slept, and then handcuffed and beat Sakina while forcing her to reveal the location of her family jewels and swear to Satan she wasn't lying. He brutally assaulted her and made her swear on Satan again that she wouldn't scream while it was happening. During this horrible act, their 3-year-old son entered the bedroom. Ramirez tied up the 3-year-old and continued to hurt the mother while he watched. After Ramirez finally left, Sakina freed her son and sent him to go to the neighbors for help. I appreciate that. Thank you. The couple had been married for 3 years, 2 months, and 28 days. They had 2 children. Sakina said in an interview, "I'm still suffering. Still. Every day. He was a good human being, excellent man. He was so nice. Nobody deserved what Ramirez did." She remembers, "Hey Daniel, hey fun. He pulled my hair and said, 'Look.' He put the dagger on my son's chest. He said, 'If you scream one time, I will kill him.'" Hey Phoenix. The reward for finding Ramirez was now $30,000. Ramirez broke into the home of a 70-year-old woman in Chinatown. Hello. In the lobby of her apartment, just for his pleasure. Thank you. In August 18th, 1985, Richard invaded the home of 66-year-old accountant Peter and 26-year-old bank teller Barbara Pan. He shot Peter in his sleep, killing him. He then assaulted and shot Barbara. He used lipstick to draw a pentagram and the words "Jack the Knife" on the wall. The couple had moved to California 16 years earlier. Peter loved gardening, so much so that it was actually considered therapeutic to him. They were loved by their friends and family. I wish I could have found out more about them, but I was unable to, especially since Peter had the name Peter Pan, which I think is awesome, but hard to do research on, unfortunately. I tried to use Barbara's name, but like I said, it was still a bit difficult to. I believe New York Times wrote an article about them, or LA Times, one or the other did. Richard used the stolen money to pick up a sex worker and paid her $10 to have sexual relations with her feet. August 24th, 1985. Richard broke into the home of 30-year-old Bill Carnes and 29-year-old Inez Erickson. The 2 were engaged. Richard shot Bill 3 times. He told Inez he was the Nightstalker. He did his usual swear you on Satan, tie up, get jewelry, and assault MO. Rather than telling her to keep quiet about him, though, Richard told her to tell people the Night Stalker was here. Erickson untied himself, ran to the neighbor's house, got help for Inez. Remarkably, though, he survived. He had 2 bullets removed, but 1 was still in his brain. And he did an interview with reporter Mike Warkis from the group home he was moved to and said it was the total destruction of their lives. He developed memory problems, physical problems. He was unable to keep a career. He later said he wants to torture Ramirez with either a chainsaw or a sand belter. He lives next door to his mother. He still has the pillow with the bullet hole. He even cheerfully asked one reporter, "Want to see my scar?" He has been taking piano lessons since he was 5. And you can read an interview with him by Keith Shannon at the OrangeCountyRegister.com. What amazes me now, I just want to take a minute to say, one second. Please be respectful, 573. Please keep it respectful, okay? Now, I just want to say, yeah, anyone who's being disrespectful, in my opinion, will get muted, so please keep it nice, okay? I just want to say that some of these people, like, I first did this case because I was really interested in his childhood and how somebody who could have been normal just got so messed up later on. You know what I mean? Like, hey, Ben, somebody who could have lived a normal life, somebody who could have been, you know, this charming young man, all of the trauma that happened to him changed him for the worse. But meanwhile, when I was actually doing my research, I felt so interested in all these survivors. Like, so many people who, you know, especially these women, they would have just been assaulted, which is both physically and mentally so traumatic. And their husbands or their boyfriends or whoever they were with was just murdered right in front of them while they slept in their own home, which is supposed to be the safest place ever. And the first thing they would do is, like, untie themselves, look for their kids to make sure their kids were okay and go get help. Like, anyone who has experienced assault can tell you how traumatic it can be and how your body just kind of goes numb for a lot of people, but the fact that they were able to pick themselves up enough to go get help and to look for their kids, like, the first instinct is making sure that their children are okay, is just so badass to me. And these are honestly some of the most badass people I have ever read about. So, honestly, mad respect to these people for surviving, and mad respect to those who didn't survive, unfortunately, who were taken too soon by a selfish man. To say the least. Selfish is the nicest possible way I can put it. It's more than he deserves. I also want to know that, hey sheep, people react differently to traumatic events such as assault, murder, whatever, and, well, obviously I'm not trying to be like, oh, well, I feel bad for him because, you know, people react differently, so it's totally fine to go murder people, because people use that excuse too often for bullying or for assault or murder. If you are ever raped, please go to the hospital. First thing to do is please go to the hospital, in most cases, and ask for a rape kit. Then you can choose yourself. Like I said, I'm not professional, but then you can choose yourself, you know, pressing charges, everything. Make sure that you are physically okay, get therapy, everything, and you have physical DNA that it happened. Because it is very hard to prove a rape, unfortunately. But, yes, I just want to pay my respect right there for everyone who survived or did not survive Richard Ramirez.